Hello, this is Crystal Racing here with the qualifying report for the 2020 Styrian Grand Prix. Excuse that hashtag Austrian Grand Prix label because for some reason the F1 admin has stuck to the Austrian Grand Prix, which makes no sense at all. But your pole sitter is Lewis Hamilton. Has to be one of the best pole laps of his career. Right up there with his 2017 Italian Grand Prix pole position at Monza. Once again, well over a second. And this is one of the shortest laps on the calendar with, in dry conditions, one of the shortest lap time. He just absolutely destroyed them in that session. And the most amazing thing was that it was actually at his wettest and he came up with the most devastating performance in those conditions. Say what you want about him and his political views, but in the car he is an absolute animal. He beat Valtteri Bottas by over 1.4 seconds, his own teammate. If that doesn't say anything more than you need to realise about Hamilton's feel for the wet, it's right up there with Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher. Carlos Sainz did an amazing job for McLaren getting into qualifying P3. Not sure he really wants to be going to Ferrari at this rate because we'll get to them later. Max Verstappen P2, pretty much expected. Esteban Ocon P5, outshining Ricciardo in a way, it has to be said. Lando Norris P6, expected. Alex Albon P7, half a second slower than Verstappen. Well, it's kind of no different to what he's like in the dry anyway, but to be starting 5 places behind his teammate in what is basically pretty much the second fastest car on the grid in most conditions, because of course I know Racing Point were very quick in Friday practice, but thing is though, when we get to the slower tracks, the car lack of downforce will be exposed, and of course it was exposed in qualifying here anyway. P8 Pierre Gasly, he out-qualified Kvyat by 0.9 seconds in Q2. But Gasly, when he's feeling comfortable, when he's a team that caters to his need, this is the sort of driver he is. He is vastly underrated. Just because he had that poor first half to last year at Red Bull does not mean he's mediocre, okay? Ricciardo P9, God, very poor I have to say. You know, considering he's going to be team leader at McLaren, I'm pretty certain they must have, they surely want more than that. Then, of course, we get to the two prancing donkeys, Vettel and Leclerc. Leclerc knocked out in Q2. I mean, of course, I know in the way it's often said that it's an equaliser of cars' abilities and drivers' abilities, but that car is just simply not only slow in a straight line, it's also slow around the corners, and it's just a midfield car at this point. I mean, it's more or less the 5th or 6th fastest car on the grid, and he only just edged George Russell in the Williams. George Russell has to be one of the standout performers in qualifying today. 23-0 in terms of all of his qualifying battles against his teammate. Not once has he been out-qualified yet in his career. I mean, yes, okay, you could question an old Robert Kubica and, of course, Nicholas Latifi, who was a bang-average driver in Formula 2, but once again, straight out of the ballpark. Absolutely phenomenal. I cannot, right on the pace of Ferrari in both Q1 and Q2, mind you. Wow, I'm absolutely speechless. Lance Stroll P13 out-qualifies Perez. Well, that Racing Point is barely pulling away, it has to be said. All of a sudden, all those strong lap times in Friday practice went down the bin. I think they were pretty much hoping that it'd be far too wet for anyone to run today. But the conditions dried up a little. Well, not dried up, but the rain eased quite significantly, and it meant we did have a qualifying session which came to Racing Point's detriment. Danny Kvyat P14, just bang average, sorry. Kevin Magnussen did well to get his horse into P15, but of course he only got into Q2 thanks to that red flag caused by Antonio Giovinazzi. And I'll get to him in a bit. P16, Kimi Räikkönen, very unfortunate to be knocked out, but having said that, the car's not very quick at all in general. But it is a much slightly better position than last weekend where he was P19, so I suppose things have been a bit better. And then of course, one of the biggest losers of today's qualifying session, it's Sergio Perez. Out in Q1, he does seem to have a habit of getting caught out in qualifying when things get tricky for some reason. He's got to be horribly disappointed with his performance today. He's been labelled a dark horse this season because, of course, the Racing Point is basically last year's Mercedes. And yet he ends up in P17, which is fairly disastrous to say the least. P18, Nicholas Latifi, out-qualified someone. Considering how low expectations are for this Canadian guy, it's pretty good going. P19, slowest of everybody who actually ran. Giovinazzi caused a red flag towards the end, spun in the final corner, then stopped out on track 13 seconds before the checkered flag, meaning that Kimi couldn't get on a run. God, I'm beginning to get a feeling that all he's doing is warming up Robert Schwartzman's seat for next season, or maybe Marcus Armstrong, depending on who Ferrari want to place in that second Alfa Romeo. And of course, P20, Romain Grosjean spun earlier on, apparently picked up damage when he went over the gravel, couldn't get out. I mean, you all know what I think of Romain Grosjean. It's time to go, Roman. What are you doing in Formula 1? It's just the same thing every weekend. Yes, I know he has a lot of technical knowledge. Yes, he's very smart. Yes, when everything's going well, he's fast over one lap. And when everything's working perfectly, yes, he can string a result together, but he needs everything to be perfect all the time. And in Formula 1, very rarely does everything come together. And when it comes to the wet, I mean, this guy just gets caught out because he's always going hell for leather, just too much. I mean, he should know better, 34, but it's Romain Grosjean. I cannot be bothered to moan about this guy anymore. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing, please be safe, and I'll see you again next time.